Welcome back to Podcast Recovery, everyone. We are your hosts, David O.
And Eric V.
I let you talk this time.
You did.
Very good.
You did.
Today we are joined by our friend in-house, Emilee B. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Good.
Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. Where are you from, Emilee?
I am from Baltimore, Maryland.
All right. And when were you first introduced to recovery?
I was introduced to recovery in 2011.
All right. And how much clean time do you have?
Oh, gosh. I just celebrated 8 years clean.
Fantastic.
Whoop, whoop, my lucky number.
Really?
Yeah, it is. So it was super special this year.
Awesome. Nice. Oh, yeah, because you actually celebrated on your
I
clean
did.
day. Yeah, that's cool.
I know, it's amazing.
I don't
So, what was it? It was year 2 I got to celebrate on my clean day, too. And it came around quickly again. It was crazy.
I never have.
You haven't, right?
No.
I celebrated once on mine.
I don't get to until I have like 14 years clean, because like the way like leap year hits and it's like weird.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pain in the ass. That's awesome. And with all that out of the way, I'm going to turn it over to you to share your story with us. So take her away.
All right, great. Yeah, so I'm just really grateful to be here. Gosh, my story. So, I've been in the speaker circuit lately, and so I've been talking a lot. But yeah, I mean, I grew up right outside of the city in Essex. Grew up with my mom, my dad, my brother. I was in like a loving household.
Yeah.
My parents were like, "I love you," give me kisses and hugs, super affectionate.
Yep.
Me and my brother are best friends. He like teases me and takes my toys away from me, makes me cry. We were just like a happy little family, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know, my mom always had really high expectations of me. So like she would always make my hair perfect and want me to be the best at the, you know, softball game, whatever, get the highest grades.
Yeah.
Play the flute the best.
Yep.
And my dad always gave me everything that I wanted. And so I really had a very good childhood, and I also had a great experience in school besides being bullied like in elementary school and middle school for a little while.
Yeah.
And then I got to high school, and like everything was great, and I had friends. And like I reconnected with these childhood friends that I had from elementary school. I don't know, man. And I tried smoking weed for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, this is so badass. I'm so badass. That's all I could think was like really badass.
You started with weed before alcohol?
No, so that's not true. So when I was, in high school, it was like normal to drink though. Like everybody drank. So like, yeah, I would like sneak into my parents' liquor cabinet and I would take a little bit of peach schnapps, and me and my friend tried it when I was really young. It was disgusting. It burned so bad.
Gross. That's a gross one.
I think we even choked on it. We were like, and it really hurt.
I'm sure.
So we threw it out, and then I was like 14, and I was at my friend's house, and we decided to go, you know, the guys across the street, and they were the older guys, and they like listened to Biggie Smalls and smoked blunts, and we were like, we're going to go over there. It'd be so cool.
Yes.
So we go over there, and we're hanging out, smoking cigarettes, and they go to the liquor store, and I get Cisco, and that was the first time that I ever drank. And like I woke up the next morning with my hair matted to my head. And I was like naked in a towel wrapped around me. I had no idea what happened. I'm 14 years old, and I'm like, so I come downstairs in a towel, and I'm like asking everyone, what happened to me? So basically I just got so wasted that like I threw up all over myself, and they had to put me in the shower. Somehow they put me in bed, so thank God nothing bad happened. But I remember thinking like, God, I'm glad that's over with, or glad nothing bad happened to me, but I mean, it was just normal for people to drink in high school.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I ended up smoking weed for the first time, which I always was like, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to do that. And that was it. Like, it was fun. It was fun to smoke weed. It was fun to sneak over to my best friend's house. I would go over there in, like, one set of clothes and change into her clothes, smoke weed up in her room.
Oh, my God.
Then change back into my clothes and, like, wash my hands. And then my mom would come pick me up. You know what I mean?
Oh, God, yes.
And then we got our driver's licenses and just used to like skip school, and I just didn't like have any interest in school anymore. Like it felt really good to just be a part of a group of people that like understood me, and whether that was we just sat in a room and laughed and like smoked weed,
Yep.
it was better than like being in school and trying to like compete with other kids for good grades. So I just kind of like put all my effort and my focus into that, and so I was really smart. Like I would skip one period every day so I could go get high and come back and deal with school.
Nice.
Until like I graduated high school just by the skin of my teeth. And I don't know, I just never saw like smoking weed as a problem. I remember getting out of high school, going to senior week, and I was always, there was like kids that did other stuff. Like I remember one time this guy was like smoking crack, and I was like, well, I'm never going to do that, and this guy's a weirdo. And then like I graduated high school, went to senior week, and I took E for the first time.
Yeah,
That was it. Like, it was a wrap. I was like naked, running around, in Ocean City senior week.
That's
Just
like a
balls to the wall.
That's like a pretty much Maryland thing. Senior week, like a lot of other states don't have that shit.
No,
Probably a good idea.
Yeah.
we're like the only one I know.
Yeah, well, like there's like a few other states. I think like New Jersey does it too.
Well, I feel like private schools, like the kids don't really go to Ocean City either. They go to they go to like North Carolina.
Oh yeah, they go
to like Outer Banks.
Yes, they're in Hilton Head.
I know, and they rent like a whole house.
Yeah.
And they all just
Rich
play board
dicks.
games. I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
We just had like
Shut up, Eric.
Yeah, man.
He's rich.
Those rich dicks.
Fucker.
Oh my god. Did you go to Outer Banks?
I did not.
Oh, good.
Did you go to senior week? You didn't go
I
to
did.
You did?
Did.
Really?
I did.
You are white trash. I'm so proud
Did.
of you.
I did go to senior week.
Okay, so you take E, you're running naked throughout Ocean City. Continue.
Yeah, I was. And so I like came home from senior week, and I convinced my best friend to do it. The one that I had started smoking weed with.
Yeah.
And that we rolled like the whole summer.
Ooh.
So like those were the really fun times. But I was like 150 pounds, and I lost 20 pounds in like 2 months.
That's not healthy.
No, not at all. I felt really good. I felt like I looked hot. Yeah. But I just remember like rolling, staying up all night, going to work. I was a server, like leaving work, making enough money to like roll all night again, and then going back to work without any sleep.
Yep.
And I remember like towards the end of the summer when it was coming up to the time where like I had to start attending college and like be a responsible person again, that like I remember just spending all my money and like driving in the car after rolling all night one night and thinking to myself like, how am I ever going to pay my bills? Like that was like the first thought of unmanageability that I can really remember in my life.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it just didn't end there. Like, I always said, like, I was never going to do that next thing. So, like, after I did E, the next thing would have been, I'm not going to do coke,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, I met this guy when I was in Ocean City. And he actually, so I lived in Essex. He lived in Carroll County. So, like, traveling up to Carroll County to see him was really exciting for me because I was traveling, like, an hour away out in the country. And, like, country kids were crazy. Like, they didn't have anything to do. So they just had huge bonfire parties.
Oh, yeah.
They were, like, throwing couches in the barn. I'm like, what the hell?
Yep.
And so, like, I ended up doing coke with him, So, like, guys always got it. The combination of men and drugs always, like, got me to that next one beyond my line.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I remember, like, staying up with him all night on coke. It was just absolutely insane. And, like, we were actually right outside of Baltimore doing this at a motel. And I had to wake up and drive him back home to Carroll County.
Oh, God.
And then go meet my mom for a facial.
Oh, God.
It was horrible.
That sounds terrible.
I wasn't even present. You know what I mean?
No.
I was like nodding out the whole time.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, what's wrong with you, sweetie?" I'm like, "I'm just tired."
I was serving last night. Like, leave me alone.
Right. And then I remember I went home and I went to sleep.
For 3 days.
Exactly. And so, like, after that, I mean, it was just off to the races. I started doing coke every single day. I had this crazy next door neighbor that would give it to me.
What?
give it to you?
What?
Yeah, like he would. Okay, so like I had this next door neighbor, which is really sad because he's actually passed away because of this disease. And he had like massive amounts of coke, and he would like invite me over and want to like snort it off of inappropriate places and do things like that.
Wow.
Just to give me a bunch of it. And I remember I was like 19 and he was probably going on like 42. You know what I mean? But he just used to. So it was
That's
crazy.
weird.
It is weird. Lots of weirdos out there when you.
Yeah.
So that was a good combination for me. I got a lot of.
You know what they call that, right?
What?
They call that a dick dinger.
What is that?
It's a dick dinger. It's when you snort it off. What it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yep, it's a dick dinger.
Huh.
You ever done a dick dinger, Eric?
No, I'm still at like the 42-19 thing. Like, I'm still there. I'm not even at your joke yet.
Okay.
Wow, that's an age difference. That's like kind of creepy.
All right.
Yeah.
There was always creepy people like that.
There's
of
always
course,
creepy.
yeah,
I know.
that's the
They
fucking
litter the
lifestyle.
stories, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
they're
yeah.
everywhere.
They're
Yeah.
everywhere. So yeah, I mean, it was just crazy, man. And I remember like thinking to myself, this is so horrible. I'm just trying to go to college. I remember going to accounting class one day, all reared up on coke. And I think I walked in and I sat down and I looked at the teacher and I looked at the guy next to me. And then I think I just got up and left. And I was like,
That sounds
F
about
this.
accurate.
Like, I am not doing this right. Like, this
nope.
is, why did I even drive here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I just remember like marking the days off of my calendar, like, holy shit, I like didn't do coke today. I didn't do coke today. I didn't do coke today. So then when it would get to a week, I'd be like, I'm gonna go celebrate and I'm
With
gonna get
some
some coke. And then I would be like days. And I was just a zombie. I don't even know. Oh, and then so I was like, how did I get into oxys then? So I found the love of my life after that.
Yeah.
I met this guy. We were partying together and he like got into a really bad car accident, and so he had like Percocets, which I didn't know, or oxycodones. I didn't know what they were.
Yeah.
So hanging out at his house, I like went over after he got in this accident. I'm like helping take care of him, and he's like, "Here, take some of these," you know. And I wake up the next morning, I don't even remember what happened.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. And you know, after we like did all of them, I was like, well, this sucks. We don't have any more of those things that you have, and I would really like to do some. And so he was like, well, I got a friend, I'm gonna call him. And he did. He called him and he got Oxycontin, and that was like, I don't know. Like, oxys were just, they don't even make oxys the same anymore.
No.
They have like the coating on them that you can't scratch off, and like,
Oh, I know.
now I'm romanticizing it, but that was like the love of my life. Like, just the whole thing of like
OCs.
scratching it off.
yeah.
And yeah.
No, I know. Yeah. Exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The 60s, but we won't go into like
No,
the actual
no.
stuff. Yeah.
And the colors and
The
stuff.
colors and all that.
Nope,
Yeah.
no.
But it was just horrible, you know, and it was crazy. So he hung out with this whole group of friends, and so the girls that I had grown up with, like, had smoked weed with me and been in that season of, like, doing ecstasy.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started getting into coke and the harder drugs, they kind of stayed where they were, and I, like, graduated to this whole group of, like, using people. So
yeah.
that guy became my boyfriend, and all of his friends used. And so they were my friends. I put that in quotation marks because they were never my friends.
Yeah.
But I literally told myself that they were my friends. And, I mean, yeah, we were off to the races. And it was really bad. And so, like, all of those friends that were in that circle were, like, already doing heroin, right? And they were, like, dope sick. And I couldn't understand because we were, like, using Oxycontins maybe like a couple times a week and whatever. And I was like, well, this is amazing. I'm not like those people. I'm not like shooting dope. I'm not getting sick. I'm not doing anything like that. And so we bought our first apartment together.
Yep.
And it was like Bonnie and Clyde. Like, we were just like the king and queen of our friends. I put that in quotation marks again, which is crazy. This is really how I thought back then.
Yeah.
I just
Shit,
thought
yeah.
we were the shit.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, I was like, well, we're better than them because we're not getting sick. And I'll never forget the day I woke up sick. And I was like, oh, shit. I think that I'm like them.
Oh,
And I was like, I need a pill. And so it was that time that we were living in that apartment that kind of like, it was just really hard partying. So like tripping on mushrooms,
Oh yeah.
doing coke, being addicted to pills, just going to like the strip club. I always wanted to go to the strip club, you know, like you can get drunk there. It was like my thing.
Nice.
Wait, what?
Which strip club? No, don't say it. Don't say it.
But
Never mind.
no,
Let's not.
It's called Escape.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm just kind of like thinking like, that's where you wanted to go get drunk? Was that the strip club?
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone hung out at the strip club.
Hell yeah,
What?
dude.
Is this
Dude, yes. Strip
I-
clubs are amazing.
no one? I don't know. No one was ever like, let's go get drunk at the strip club.
Right?
Everyone was like, let's go to Old Ellicott City.
I went to a strip club where it was BYOB. So you could bring your. I'm so romanticizing this, but yeah, dude. Look, fuck yeah. That's what.
That wasn't,
Dude.
I've been to a strip club one time and I had to wash my hands like multiple times. I was like, this is gross. I can't do it, guys.
Oh god. Oh god. They're this.
Oh, you were a Yuppie user. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, 100% he was.
I get down, but yeah, like yes and no. But
You've never been to a strip club in
Not to
recovery, have you?
romanticize it, but they are the softest people on earth.
what?
They
Stop
must
it.
bathe in cocoa butter because they are so soft.
They do not. They probably don't wash their feet.
I don't.
I don't know. It just
Feet
doesn't.
aren't my
It
thing,
doesn't
so I'm
seem
not worried.
hygienic. I don't know. Just
It's
it
not.
seems
I don't
kind
care.
of.
No, I don't care.
Okay.
But go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
I just. I never. I don't know. I never heard someone be like, "Let's go get drunk at the strip club." Like.
Well, I'm from Essex. Everybody
I was gonna
went to the
ask.
strip club.
I was gonna say, like,
Yeah.
is it an Essex thing? But I didn't want to be rude.
No,
you know.
it's totally an Essex thing. Essex, Middle River.
Apparently, it's a Howard County thing too, because I fucking love that shit.
Well, it's because they have a good one up there.
We do.
You know,
In Howard
you
County?
like keep track of this. Like, what is what?
Well,
They have a
I
good
used
one.
to.
Okay, we
So-
digressed.
Yeah, I mean, so at that time that I was in the apartment, my brother passed away. So he got electrocuted at work, and it was a really freak accident.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
so I was like using really, really hard and like all caught up in my life and thinking that I was just like better than better and like
Yeah.
kind of ignoring my family who didn't like this boyfriend. And my brother, I wasn't paying attention to him at all. And my brother would try to contact me and hang out with me and all this other stuff. And he used to come over and hang out with his boyfriend. And so he used to hang out with the boyfriend more than he would hang out with me. Just because I like wasn't present. I was just always thinking about using and getting
Yeah.
one more. But I didn't want my brother to like know. You know, I just wanted to seem like I wasn't doing anything. And yeah, man, he like died, and it was really upsetting. So like up until that point in my life, I just in my eyes literally had the perfect life, and it just completely flipped upside down. So I had never had anyone close to me in my life die before. And it was my brother. And so, like, I understood that when someone leaves and they don't come back, like, they're not coming back. And I just used drugs to, like, drown my feelings. And so my brother passing away was really the catalyst for the progression of my disease. Like, I really, truly believe that everything happens for a reason. And I
Yep.
believe that I would have been out there using way, way longer if this life thing had not happened. And I used really hard for like 2 years after that, and it was just the bottom of bottom. Like, I'll just run through it really quick. I mean, I ended up smoking crack and doing heroin. I had a girl shoot me up one time, and I think that she screwed me and didn't share her cotton shot right, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And so, like, I told her to go buy some crack for me, and I wanted her to come back and shoot me up. And when she got back to the apartment, it was at the end of my addiction. And I'm staying with this man who's, like, 50 years old, and he has, like, a mullet and 2 teeth.
Oh god.
What?
And I'm, like, sleeping with him every single day for 8 ball of crack.
Oh god.
And he has 2 little girls, 3 and 2, and I'm taking care of them.
God.
And their mother's in jail.
Of course.
And, like, my friend walks in with the crack, and she says, all right, let's go to the bathroom and do it. Let me shoot you up. And he said, no, you're not allowed to do that here. And, like, I am so grateful for that man that he made her leave and that she wasn't able to do that. Because I think that would have... I just don't think that I would be here, you know? So, yeah, man, like, that's where it took me. I was a stripper for 2 years. So that's
why you know.
I just know, right.
It's just like...
That's it.
That explains a lot more.
You never bathed in cocoa butter?
No.
Son of a bitch.
I just used to rub
So
it
it's
on
like,
my
why
body
would you
every
just
night.
know that? Like, why would you know Howard County has the good one? Like, that's like a weird thing to know.
Yeah.
Because...
I was obsessed with it for like 2 years.
Me too.
Well... Oh, so
what
you
year
must have gave me all your money.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, wait a minute, where did you work again? Yeah. What years were this? Our paths could have crossed.
So, yeah, I mean, at the end, I was evicted from my apartment. I was dope sick all the time. I was just trying to get one more. I was tired of taking off my clothes for money. Mm-hmm. I had burnt all my bridges. It was just crazy. And so at the very end, when I literally had nothing left, and I lived in Parkville, I called my dad, and my dad came and picked me up, and he brought me up to him and my mom's house in Carroll County, and he said, hey, do you want to go to treatment? And, like, the only reason that I went is just so that I wouldn't be dope sick.
Yeah.
You know? But I was like, I'm just going to go. And I went. And it was, like, the best thing that ever happened to me. And so, like, while I was there, it was so crazy. So, like, the day that I went, I just, like, went up in my grandmother's cabinet and took all the pills I possibly could.
Oh, God.
And then they gave me, like, more pills when I got there to help me detox, but they, like, counteracted the ones I had already... So I was just, like, walking around slurring my words for, like, days. And,
Do you know what you took?
Yeah, I took, like... Klonopin, and then they gave me like Suboxone to like detox on. Yeah,
sounds good.
It was really crazy.
It sounds terrible.
It sounds about right.
What did Kim take? Like that one. Remember in her episode how she talked? She was taking like cardiac medicine with like.
Well, that was a mistake.
Yes,
yeah, like,
but she just took like a random handful of pills and just like down the fucking well.
You need to look that shit up.
Yeah, and then she looked it up and it was like, yeah, it was like a cardiac medication and like a seizure medication. We were like, what the fuck?
You'll take anything.
You'll take anything. Yeah, it's true.
Just to make you feel outside yourself. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, they told me what I had to do when I left. Mm-hmm. They told me that I had a disease just like someone has cancer, and just like someone with cancer has to treat it with chemotherapy, you have to treat it this way. And so I remember that, like, I laughed so hard. So we had to, like, do these skits in treatment, and I don't even know what they were based off of. I just remember, like, us acting like we were crackheads peeking out a window. I mean, it was like charades. I don't even know, but it was just amazing. So much fun, you know?
That's amazing.
And I hadn't laughed in years. Like, I feel like when my brother died... And then I was using that hard for 2 years, like, or 2.5 years. I just hadn't laughed. And so it was relieving, you know? And then I went home to my parents' house, and I was like, what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to do? Mm-hmm. And so, you know, my parents really supported me. Mm-hmm. And they would take me where I needed to go. And so, like...
Did you go to a meeting right away?
Yeah, I did. Nice. So when I got out, my dad took me to a meeting. Mm-hmm. We went. It was crazy. We stayed. As soon as the meeting was over, I was like, Dad, we got to go. I'm not trying to talk to any of these people.
No.
So we're leaving, and my dad sees someone that he used to work with.
Of course.
And so the guy stops him, and they're talking, and he's like, hey, has your daughter talked to any of the women? So he screams across the room, and he's like, there's this girl here and she's new. And I'm like dying. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So
deer in headlights.
They all came over and they talked to me. Mm-hmm. They gave me their phone numbers. And so the next day we went home, and next day when I woke up, I was like, well, what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
But I knew that I didn't want to use. Mm-hmm. But I kind of did want to use just because it's so comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
And I was thinking, what am I supposed to do with myself? So I actually called one of the women. Actually, I called a couple of the women, and only one woman called me back. But that's all I needed. I just needed one woman to call me back.
Yep.
So she called me back, and we talked on the phone for about 45 minutes, and it was like I was in high school all over again.
Yeah.
For the first time in a long time, I was on the phone with someone who actually wanted to hear what I had to say, and I actually wanted to have a conversation with the person, which was not something that I ever did, right?
You want to give her a first name shout out? Who was it?
Helen.
It was Helen?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. All right.
Yeah, it's Helen. And so, yeah, she invited me over her house, was like, you want to go to a meeting with me? So I go over her house. My dad takes me over there. I'm like, are you sure you want me to come to your house? Like, she's inviting me to her house.
Yeah.
And I walk in. She has a house. She has cars. She has a husband. She has children.
Yep.
And she's dressed in business casual clothes from work. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like, this woman has no idea what I've been through. She has no idea who I am. And I'm standing there, and it's always like God hears exactly what I'm saying. And she was like, do you want to see my picture from treatment? And I was like, sure. So she pulls it out of her wallet, and it's literally this picture of her. She was probably, 150 pounds then when I had met her. She pulls out this picture from treatment. She's like 89 pounds.
Oh.
Soaking wet.
Oh, God.
Eyes rolled into the back of her head. Hair slicked back to her head. And at that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm in the right place.
Yeah.
Like I'm exactly in the right place where I'm supposed to be, and this woman knows what I've been through. And she was just amazing. She picked me up, for meetings all the time. And I have an infant now, and she had a 2-year-old. So I don't know how she did it, but it was a godsend. And so I just rolled with her and her husband. And they would take me everywhere, and I would go over their house, and we would watch football, and people would come over, and we'd have food. And I just remember feeling so awkward. But I was like, I
Eric
asked,
knows what that's like.
Yeah, we were talking about that before you came over.
Eric always feels awkward.
really?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Any large groups feel terribly anxious.
Yeah, any new groups, I feel anxious.
The worst.
I have to get used to it, and then I can, participate.
Oh, I don't care. I'm doing cartwheels anyway.
I know.
don't give a fuck.
Dave's just like, whatever.
Yeah, fuck a duck. Don't care.
So, I didn't listen to people when I came around the first time, and I went back out and I used. And it was a horrible experience because everything that I had learned and every ounce of peace that I had gained, went right in the stem the first time I took a hit.
Yep.
It was crazy. And I stayed out, for 2 months. And it was I always talk about this. So, people will blow up my phone and want to know where I was, and I used to hate it. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to, smoke crack, and you're calling me.
Yeah.
Stop calling. And I remember going to the grocery store one day after, being completely hungover, and I just quit my job at Applebee's, and I saw this woman that I knew, from recovery, and I was trying to dodge her. And I just couldn't dodge her, and she saw me, and it was as soon as she said hi to me, I just started crying, and I broke down into tears, and I was like, I've been using.
And I'm sure she was like, yeah, no shit.
Actually, she just stood there like a deer in the headlights. She was like,
I don't even remember your name. I just wanted to say hi.
right.
Yeah.
She was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I came back in, and I did what I was supposed to do. And it was the best decision that I ever made. I got clean on, March 23rd of 2011. I haven't looked back since. I have tons of friends that I have made in the rooms. A lot of people that love me, and a lot of people that I love. And, I've really learned how to like myself. And so, going into the career thing, so, when I came around. I used to work at the American Red Cross, right?
Oh, really?
And yeah, that was the very first job that I ever had. And so I used to work there from 12 to 9. I'd have to call for blood donations. And after working there for a little while, they told me that, I could apply for a job. It was going to be a promotion, like, within the American Red Cross. And I was thinking to myself, I'm never going to get that. So anyways, I was like, I'm just going to apply for it. So I applied for the job, and I go in for the interview, and they gave me the promotion.
Nice.
I was like, oh my gosh. So, like, I get to start working at another location for the American Red Cross, and lo and behold, I actually had just moved into a house that was much closer to that location with, like, some people in recovery.
Nice.
So it was all godsend. It was like doing the next right thing. The next right thing will happen.
Yep.
So, like, I get this job, and they give me a badge. So you had to swipe in the door. I thought I was amazingly cool.
Yeah.
I was like, this is awesome.
Was it on, like, one of the little, like, extendy belts
Yes,
things?
and I would just play with it. And
Yeah.
I would actually take it, and I would wear it to meetings just so people knew that, like, I and so, like, they gave me an email.
That's
and
bougie as fuck.
they gave me a phone with
I
an
got a badge,
extension.
bitch.
I know.
Where's your recovery at? I got a badge.
I know. Work some more steps.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, after that, I worked there for a while. And so one of my, Helen, shout out to Helen again, she told me to come in and interview for this position. And I got an entry-level position as an admin. And I worked my butt off for 5 years. And like, after that, I wanted to move up. And so I went and I interviewed for, to be the executive assistant to a stadium manager at a stadium that's here in Baltimore.
Nice.
And I got the job. And, like, I've just slowly moved my way up. So it was really funny, though, because the one admin job that I used to work at was on Baltimore Street. And so, like, if anyone's from Baltimore, they know that the one end of Baltimore Street is, like, the strip of all the strip clubs.
Yep.
And I, in recovery, worked on the other end of Baltimore Street. So I was, like, moving on up.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, like, recovery's been amazing for me. I think that I just want to share about this. So, when I first got clean, my dad's the first person that took me to a meeting because of my brother passing away. My dad's really struggled with drugs again. And so, like, when I got clean, he had just started using. And so, like, while over the past 8 years, I've come to this point where, like, I can love myself and I have a successful career. I have an amazing boyfriend. I just had my first child. I can, like, have a relationship with God today. I can help other people. My dad has slowly went down the tube, and so it was really hard to, like, watch that happen, and I had to separate myself and put space in between him and myself so that I could stay clean and I could stay healthy. And I had to separate myself from him, and so he actually got clean for a year, and it was amazing. And so I had my dad back for, like, an entire year, and then he went back out. And so I am happy to say that my dad has a month clean.
Nice. Congratulations.
Like, everything's perfect timing.
Yeah.
So my boyfriend and I just moved into a house with my mom. Well, it's her house. So my grandmother passed away and we moved in with her. And it's just, God has the most perfect timing. Because we move in, my dad calls and says that he's really struggling. He's suicidal. And he feels very alone. And, like, I created a lot of space in between him and I, but I just felt like I should really step up and try and help him. And so did my mom. So now we're, like, one big happy family underneath a roof, It's me, my mom, my dad, it's my boyfriend, it's my son. And it's crazy. So, like, my little girl inside is like, yes, 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 yes. Like, this is what I get, And everything's been really good. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful that he hasn't died. I'm grateful that I've had the opportunity to kind of like be a power of example for him. Yeah, it's been really awesome. So yeah, I can't stop, won't stop, no matter what.
Yeah.
One day at a time.
All right. Love it. All right. I think we got some questions for you.
Oh, yeah.
You started
sure.
last time, so I'm going to start.
You're going to start?
Yeah, fuck you.
What?
You heard me.
That's rude.
I know.
Fucking asshole over here.
Okay. All right, we'll start with that question. So we've all heard the expression that misery loves company. Like, how true do you think that is in like sort of like pulling you farther down the rabbit hole in addiction? How like your old friends became your old friends, and then these new friends, like these using friends, really kind of like became more part of your life.
Yeah, I mean, misery loves company. So when I got clean, I had to change people, places, and things. And it was so difficult for me to leave all of my friends behind.
Yep.
I put in quotation marks again because they were not my friends.
No.
Misery loves company. They didn't want me to get better.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it.
Yep.
And so it was really hard when I first got clean and like I met all these new people, and I had been around for like a couple of years, and I remember like thinking to myself, what the fuck am I doing here with all these people?
Yep.
Like, I don't know them because I have been out there using with people for like 8 years, you know?
Yeah.
And then I was coming in just a couple of years clean, really starting to form relationships with people, and that's what I would have. I would just look around and be like, these people don't know me.
Yeah.
And it was just such a lie, you know? So it was my negative thinking too that wanted me to believe like those people were like actually my friends, you know, when they're not.
All right. What do you got, Eric?
Well, I do have kind of like a sick question first. Did you say that your first time shooting heroin was a cotton shot?
Yes.
Poor thing.
Jesus, Eric.
Sorry, I said I was sick. Did I not preface that with I was sick?
You did.
I said I was sick. I was a little sick. A little bit sick, David.
I like sick people.
You know what I mean? A little sick. I had to ask, you know? I mean, a cotton shot, that sucks.
Did you?
You know, I did
you?
have to ask because I
Okay.
thought I heard
Let's
it.
get to a real question.
You know?
You
I don't
digress.
even think it was a cotton shot. I think it was like a water with cotton in it, and she just faked it, which is even worse.
I just had to, you know, I had to ask. But, okay. So, going back to kind of what you said earlier, when you lost 20 pounds, when you did E that one summer, and you were kind of talking, I guess to kind of like preface this, like I've had like eating disorder issues and like image problems. So like when you said like you lost 20 pounds, you're like, I was super hot and like, you know, it's great losing like 20 pounds and you felt better. Like, you know, in recovery, you're going to like, you know, gain some of that weight back. Right. And do you kind of like ever try to, or do you ever try to get like back to like your using weight, or do you like look at your using weight, not like when you're, you know, about to die, but like your using weight of when like you feel like you actually looked good? Like, do you ever like think about that and you're like, oh man, like I was so like, oh, if I could get back to that.
I feel like this is like a whole nother podcast. Like I could talk about this for an hour. Yes, absolutely. So I was 150 pounds in high school. Like that's the weight that I really felt comfortable around. And then when I got clean, I gained 26 pounds, and it was so I remember sitting there, crossing my hands across my stomach. And so
Were you at 150 when you got clean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I had gotten down the first time. I was like down to 130, and then I got clean, and then I used again, and I was still at 150.
Okay. Right.
So, I mean, it was just really uncomfortable. And after 2 years of being tired of it, a friend got me into working out. And I've never had an eating disorder, but I have always thought to myself when I got to that weight, if I could just get back down to 150 pounds, everything would be perfect. Right? Like, I'll just be okay. And that never happened for me. And so through working out and eating right and eating healthy, my body really changed and it was more appropriate for me. So like I was 168 pounds, but I lost inches and built muscle and I looked really good and stuff. And so, you know, I always fluctuated with like working out and then not working out, working out, and not working out. And I'm an overeater. Mm-hmm. I love to stuff my face. I don't know why, it just makes me feel better. And so through the process, like I've been in really good shape and like the way I looked, and so I just had a baby and now I'm up to 199 pounds and it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And all I can think about is what am I going to do to fix it? Because if I just lose the weight, I'll be... And then I look back on myself and I think, I looked amazing. Why did I ever think I was fat, you know? So yes, absolutely. Body image and weight is such a vulnerable area.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially using weight. Like using good using weight. Not like disgusting about to die using weight.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, when you're like, I look good, and then like you gain like, you know,
well, and
all
just
the way back.
When I was a stripper, I was like rock solid, built
Yeah.
like a shit brick house.
Shit brick house.
Brick shit house?
I haven't heard that.
Brick shit house.
Shit brick house?
Shit brick house.
Anyways, I looked really sexy.
Oh, God. All right.
And I got that body from that, you know?
Yeah.
So that's where my mind will play tricks on me.
What, from like the pole dancing?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you think about it,
It's great
It's
for
a
your
lot
thighs.
of work. I
It's
know.
really
It's a
great for
great
your thighs.
workout. I do know that.
I've been doing
Common
Electra's
like,
strip aerobics for years. It's been really great.
like
on
it's a
my
lot of upper
thighs.
body strength, right?
Yes.
Like there's a lot of
But then you gotta like intertwine your thighs and hang upside down and do all sorts of shit.
right?
My
Kind of
my
aerobic
twerking
and-
game is A+. I'll have you know.
Oh
Can
yeah.
we see it though?
No.
I'm just kidding.
No.
All right.
All right.
David?
Okay. How relieving has it been? Like you talked about it, sort of like throughout your share, like, and like we all did it. Like we had a facade when we were using like, oh, this person is worse than us, or like, oh, I'm employed right now, so things are going well. And how relieving is it to know, like, come into recovery and not have to keep up as much of a facade. Like we're still people and we still like put up fronts here and there. But like to just really like let your guard down, and like you said with Helen, like, oh shit, like you don't know me, but then she's like, show me your treatment picture. This bitch knows me 100%. So what, like, how relieving is that to just finally just let go of that shit?
Oh, it's amazing because I get moments, more than not, I have a lot of moments in my life where I can be completely humble and the other person that I'm with can be completely humble, and then we can really connect, right, on a level. Because when I think that I'm better than or I think that I'm less than, it's really hard for me to connect with someone.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, if they're feeling the same way, I mean, we're just missing shots all over the place, like just merely existing, standing next to each other kind of thing. So if I think about it, that's what I was doing my entire using. I was never making, I thought I was making real connections when I was really drunk and I was on coke, but like I'm not the real life connections that I have made in recovery. And like I still struggle with that in relationships where, I don't know, for example, maybe I'm on my high horse, or maybe there's a friend that's on their high horse, and you know, it creates like a rift in the relationship where like something's just missing, and so it doesn't feel very good.
Yeah.
So I really love when the defects of character get to like dissipate and then you just come back together.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's one of the most beautiful things about recovery, is just like being in harmony with other people and not having to like keep up with the Joneses, or feel like I can't go talk to these people or be a part of this group or anything like that.
Nice. Awesome. What you got, Eric? Shoot.
So you said you used E for an entire summer?
Ooh. Yeah, he always goes.
You
into
are
this.
sick. You're the sick question.
He's the sick one. He's the dark one.
Probably.
I
Yeah.
like
I'd say yeah.
Yes.
I'd say yeah. I'm probably the dark one.
I'm the yin to your
Surprisingly,
yang.
like I think outwardly it wouldn't look that way, but internally
Not at
for
all.
sure.
Yeah. I just hide my darkness.
That's true.
With pretty shiny things.
You would. The thing with E, like I don't know, I was always whenever I take E, I would do it like once or twice, and then I would take a break. The only drug that I would could ever do that with, where I could take it like just a few times, and then I would take a break for like 6 months to a year. But for a whole summer, do you think there's any like lasting effects from taking like E? And like how what you were like? I mean, this isn't like the E now, which I'm sure is still just cut to shit. But like back then, like E was like rough. Like I remember like Louis Vuittons and like G's Up Hose Down and all that sort of
Yes.
shit. Yeah, your
G's
eyes
Up,
lit
Hose
up on
Down.
that best. I know.
Number one.
Yes, they are. They are the best for sure.
Oh, God.
It's a little sick, but it's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you think there's any like lasting effects like mentally from like that much ecstasy?
Yeah, I remember when I was rolling that whole summer, actually not being able to put sentences together. Like when I wasn't on it, and then I remember when I actually got off of it about a year later. Me and my friends picked up some guy from the bar, and he was like, "E-tarded." That's what we used to call it, E-tarded.
Oh, God.
And yeah, he couldn't even speak, right? And
Yeah.
I'm thinking, oh shit, that's what I used to look like. Lasting effects from that. And then I remember when I started doing OCs, the more I started doing them, the more my mental process just like slowed down so much. And I do
Really?
truly believe that like I do have side effects from like using where
Oh,
I've
yeah.
messed up my memory, my speech when I first, got clean. It's taking me years of practice to be able to, I guess speak clearer, like I used to mumble, just all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah. E-tarded though. Remember that one?
I do remember that.
E-tarded.
Yes, I know exactly what
It
you're
was like
talking
a
about.
proud thing to be E-tarded during
Really?
that time.
You think so? I didn't think so. See, I was not a proud. I would just be like, oh man, take a break. That was my usual thing. Never stop, but
Are
take
you
a break.
sure
Yeah.
you're an addict then?
Oh, yes. Eric is an addict.
I'm just a little weird.
Yes, he's
Just a little weird.
Very weird.
I have a lot of structure.
Yeah, he's a bougie addict. He's 100% fucking the bougiest of addicts. Okay, back to the real shit. Okay, so in active addiction, you were using to deal with grief. What have you done in recovery to sort of process that?
So when I got clean and I was actually I had a counselor when I was in treatment. And I think that he helped me a lot. It's so interesting. He wasn't an addict, so I was very pissed off because he was the counselor that I got who wasn't an addict. And I was like, fuck you, you're not going to understand how I feel. And he really helped me. I mean, we did a lot of stuff on grief. We did meditation on grief, and I think for me, forming a relationship with the God of my understanding, it hit me one day that I was going to be able to see him again. Like I believe that when I leave here, that I am going to see my brother again. And so that thought is really what helped me deal with the fact that he's gone, is that like, I get to see him again. And there's other little things that have happened, like, I had one of my high school friends pass away, and her mom went and saw a medium, and this medium told her, I need, your daughter's come to me, and she told me to tell Emilee that whenever she sees pennies, she should always pick the penny up and look at the year and think of her brother and what happened. And then he told my mom she should listen to the radio, and whenever she hears songs that were some of his favorite songs, she should think about him. And so I see pennies all over the place at the craziest time. I mean, just all kinds of stuff that he lets me know that he's with them. Well, that he's with me. So I mean, I don't know. I feel like grieving is so interesting. So it's never the same for two people.
No.
It's completely different, right? It has the stages, but it's completely different. So it's actually helped me be able to channel that to help other people who are going through grief. Just to let them know that, like, there's not a time limit on grieving. And it never looks the same. So don't let anyone tell you how to deal with it, right?
Yeah.
I see people be like, "Oh, well, they're dead and they're gone, and so let's just like move on."
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, they got some serious fucking issues.
Yeah.
Like,
Very aggressive
Yeah.
approach to
Yeah.
grief.
That's a very cold nature of that.
it's
Yeah.
a difficult emotion. So
Back,
yeah,
back to you, Eric.
Back to me.
With sports.
Okay. So, I feel like you're like,
For the record, when you're speaking and he's over there like scribbling, does it make you nervous? Makes me nervous.
no,
does it
Really?
make you nervous?
It does.
no, but he's very like just back and forth in the chair, and then grabs his pad and scribbles and puts it back, and then just sways back.
Yes.
So, I guess this is kind of my next two questions they're not really related, but so you had a sugar daddy, it sounded like, right?
Yeah.
Was it a sugar daddy? It sounded kind of like a sugar daddy.
I thought that as well. I was like,
I was an interesting stripper, okay? Like, I had a boyfriend, and I would go to work, and I would tell all the men I had a boyfriend.
Well, no, not the stripper stuff. I do have a question about the stripper stuff, but the guy,
the stripper stuff.
the guy who had the mullet and the two teeth.
Yes, you're right.
Isn't
okay.
that kind of like a sugar daddy
Yeah, I was
situation?
Yeah.
I guess, like, what is... I don't really know how to word the question.
Just say it.
I always wanted a
guess
sugar
just-
mama back in the day. That would've
Describe-
been awesome.
Sugarbaby.com?
What? I'm getting married. Stop that.
Yeah, I thought we talked about this.
I don't know. Did we?
I thought I talked to someone
Go back
else
to your
about the
question.
sugar daddy thing or sugar mama thing. Just describe, I guess, what is that situation like? I mean, like, it's very kind of transactional, right?
Horrible.
Like, but how does that change your idea of what a relationship should be? Like, how from, what a relationship is, and then you're entering like the sugar relationships. The sugar relationships.
Are you going for like what's it like being
what is
in
the
like
post effects of
on relationships?
on relationships from being in like
Unhealthy relationships.
unhealthy, like not even unhealthy, but like a sugar like daddy like type.
Well, that's a type of unhealthy.
But that's like a
relationships.
different relationship than an unhealthy relationship, right?
So, I mean,
Well, I'm using you for technology, so that's kind of like a sugar daddy situation. We'll get into
No,
that later.
no.
I'm kidding.
okay, so how does that affect? No, I'm just kidding. So, I mean, it's a really good question. So, I was in a mentally and physically abusive relationship while I was using. And then I had men. So, like, yes, that wasn't, I guess because it's something that I learned, like, working with other women in the program. It's just basically that just because they didn't give me money, right, doesn't mean that they weren't my sugar daddy. So that's why when you said sugar daddy, I was like, what? I didn't have a sugar daddy. I had many of them. I had drug dealers. I had sugar daddies. They gave me drugs for transactions, right? Like,
Yeah.
I used my body to be able to get whatever I wanted. And so when I came into recovery, I gained weight, right? So I feel like God, like, removed the ability for me to be able to just use my body to get whatever I wanted. And I had to learn how to not do that, which was interesting. So I was a huge flirt. I wanted attention. I would wear really tight clothes and really low cut clothes to get attention from men. And I had women who would tell me, oh, you don't have to dress that way. And so all of that translated. So I am a serial dater in recovery. And I've been in multiple relationships, and I have dated men for their money in recovery. I have dated them for the way that they look and their height and their amazing body in recovery. I've also dated men because I wanted to fix them.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So all of those relationships, nothing ever came of it. And so I was left very heartbroken and wondering what was wrong with me. And so this woman that I was working with in recovery, she's amazing. She told me, how about when you start dating someone, you look for what's on the inside, right? And that was a new concept for me. And that's what I did. I started looking for what was on the inside. And I actually, so my boyfriend, Jamie, who's so amazing that I'm with now, he's such a nice guy that when we first started dating, I was like, I cannot fucking date him because he's so nice to me. Like, I just want him to, like, be mean to me or, like, do something to, like, take advantage of me or use, like, because that's what I'm used to.
Yeah.
Right? So it was such a healing process for me. Like, I actually struggled dating my boyfriend for a little while because he's so nice. And I'm just so grateful that I listened to women tell me, like, how great of a guy he is and everything like that, because he's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Like, I could never be with anyone who didn't treat me good now.
Yeah.
Right? But before, it was completely acceptable to me. Even at 6 years, 7 years clean.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Like, why?
I was definitely gonna have a follow up to that.
Like,
how?
Yeah.
I think I got this.
You got it?
I got this. Okay, so my follow up to that is, how was it? So, because I think that sort of goes with like self image and like how we think of ourselves as addicts, and like we have the itty bitty shitty committee upstairs, and like
I haven't heard that in a while.
I know, throwback. How was it like building up that self-esteem to come into a healthy relationship and realize that like that's what you deserved all along, instead of like all those like toxic relationships, or like not even necessarily toxic, but not healthy, not right for you?
It was just a huge spiritual awakening. I'm really not sure like what I was doing before. I think it was just all, I needed it for experience. Yeah. Right? Because I tried the good looking guy, the guy with money. Right? And I never tried the inside stuff. It has been, it's helped me love myself more. Yeah. You know? I don't know. And I just would never let anyone treat me like that again.
Yeah. All right. Okay. You got one. Do you have how many more
I
do you
have
left?
I have at least one more. Minimum. One more.
Stock questions?
No. Do you want to do the last as a stock question? I'll ask this question now.
Let's do 1 to 1.
Do 1 to 1? 1v1?
1.
You want 3 more questions total?
Yes.
That's fine.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So how is addiction manifested in recovery? Like how is it cropped up?
Oh, okay. So shopping and clothes. Oh my God. I have so many clothes that I could probably wear an outfit every single day for an entire month and not have to do laundry.
Nice.
Maybe.
I could do that too.
Even a month and a half.
Me too.
Yeah. I have a lot of clothes. And so a lot of debt, spending money that I actually just paid off, most of it. And so now it's crazy. I was going to actually go spend money on my Amazon credit card today, and I didn't.
Nice.
I just won't.
Yeah.
It was so awful to be in debt and be making minimum payments. Food.
Yep.
Oh, food's such a big one for me right now. And then it's also manifested into healthier things like exercise. Yeah. I was really into CrossFit at one point, which I absolutely love, but it's very expensive and I don't have time for anymore.
It's a cult. I'm sorry. It's a cult.
I know.
All of you listeners out there, it's a cult. You're in a cult. Stop flipping tires. You don't need to do that. No, it's a cult. I don't buy into CrossFit. I can't do it.
Whatever works, man.
No.
Yeah. That's the message, right? Whatever works.
Okay, so other healthy ways.
CrossFit.
Oh.
Other healthy ways,
Nathan's gonna listen to this.
I don't know. Other healthy ways. probably like hanging out with people way too much to the point where I've been a social butterfly, so I was never by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like social acceptability
Yeah.
being like part of my life. Yeah, they're the only ones I can think of. Oh, and work.
Okay.
Oh.
Ooh, and sort of a joint question to that. What's your worst, like, character defect?
People pleasing.
People pleasing. Okay.
That's a
So-
new stock question.
That's a new stock question. I just thought about that.
I usually walk into a situation and think, how can I get this person to like me?
Ooh.
Really?
Very sick.
Huh.
I just realized that in the past year it like came to me and I was thinking, why do I do that? Why?
One of mine's kind of like, yeah. And I really hate this. Like, it's sort of like, how can I intellectually dominate this person?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how can I, like, control this conversation to eventually make you look stupid? I'll do that to people. And,
and it works.
it's so, I feel like,
You feel awful afterwards?
yeah. I feel bad. I'm like, I ran that conversation to a point where that person just, like, looked like an idiot. And now I feel better about myself, but I also feel worse. What's yours, Eric?
What's yours? Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's evolved a lot.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I don't know.
The mind evolves too.
Right now, I guess, I don't know. I mean, I guess the working thing is bad.
Yeah.
That's really bad.
Are you overworking?
Maybe having 7 screens in one room.
That's not enough, David.
Jesus.
I mean, Jesus Christ, what are you talking about? Like, we need at least 2 more.
So maybe always going for more.
No, but that's not true. I don't think.
That's true. Not in all things.
I mean, the being a workaholic, but that's more of like a.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going right the second, you know,
Okay.
I mean, I work
Right off the top of your
all
head.
the time.
That's true, you do.
How many hours a week do you work?
Including my side projects, 80 to 100 usually.
Wow.
I've been doing this for years.
It's really wild.
I also now work out like 5 times a day, and like I'm very obsessive.
Yes.
There.
Obsessive.
You want to go there? Obsessive.
Yes, because when you get into something, you get into it.
But there's no reason
Like-
to go hard or go home. Like, you know
That's
what
true.
I mean? Like,
Wait, so when he has an idea, he blows up your phone all day long with the ideas? He's like
Oh, dude,
streaming
you,
them
like-
to your phone?
Quite a bit. Like once, especially even with the podcast. Like once he starts going with the podcast, he's going.
It's a stream of
Like,
thought.
It's like Twitter. It's everything.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna do an LLC, then we're gonna do this, then we're gonna do this. Oh, he has like a whole like battle plan for us, and I'm just like, I'm getting speakers today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I brought Emily. Look what I did.
Yeah.
I'm the E-tard here.
But, you know, I mean, that's mine, I guess, right?
Obsessive.
Yeah.
That's true. All right. To your question,
Okay.
and then my final question of the night.
So,
Don't steal my question.
Wait, that's
Well-
4 questions.
no.
Well, yeah,
No.
I did a dual question. I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Oh, yeah, you, but it's a new stock question, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So I guess you kind of answered this. The whole stripping thing is like totally like don't understand it at all. Just so unhygienic. But I mean, I'll be honest. Okay, I was at my brother-in-law's bachelor party, and like
bachelor parties are
I had
gross.
to go, right, because
They're
it's
gross.
like my future brother-in-law. I had to
they get
go.
gross.
Very
And, like,
obligated.
yeah, like I was very uncomfortable, and this woman just came up and like rubbed her tits in my face, and I was like, I went to the bathroom immediately and washed my face because I was like, that's fucking gross. Why did you do that? Like, I didn't ask for that. Disgusting. So, yeah, obsessive compulsive, right? But so I guess
That's amazing.
this kind of goes back to like
I have a really good one.
this is kind of like the relationship thing, right? Where like, how did you heal your relationships and kind of the image thing together? Because like you're like stripping, right? Like how How do you? What this guy? Really? That's where you are.
to me. Oh my god! I'm trying not to make noise.
I guess like looking at, because you're kind of like objectifying yourself, right? Like, right as a stripper, like you're using yourself to.
I distract myself to stop laughing.
I don't know, but like, I guess, what is it like, kind of, as far as your body image and stuff post stripping, like, and how you look at yourself now? And you kind of answered it, but kind of like from like that context of where, you were kind of doing, I guess, stripping stuff. And I don't know how to word that, but
this just makes you uncomfortable, and that's why you have to ask.
It's not that. There is a real question here, like, what is your image of yourself from when you were a stripper to your image of yourself now, and how that's evolved?
Okay.
That's the question. Just stripping is kind of weird to me, so like I have to dance around it.
So depending.
Nice. You have to dance
Good?
around
You
it.
like
That's
it?
good.
I think that when I was in active addiction and I had this, I didn't even realize that I had a nice body. I mean, it was very important to me. I was all about the way I looked, and it was part of my job.
Now I have a follow-up.
And actually, if you want to know, I put the least amount of effort into my appearance than any of the other women probably in there. So that was interesting. I think I felt very like proud about that. So, but like now, like coming into recovery, it's not all about the outside. Like, yes, I want to work out to look nice because I like to look nice.
Yeah.
However, it's way more than that. Like eating healthy, drinking a lot of water, exercising is not only good for like, so not everything's about the physical anymore. It's also about like all those things are good for my mental and spiritual side of myself also. So not everything's about the physical. However, I will tell you, that I am uncomfortable at the weight that I am. And so my boyfriend hears about it every day. Today I told him I'm going to go on Nutrisystem. You know what I mean? So it's, I don't really think I'm going to. I feel like you judged me.
A little bit. I judged you just a tiny bit there. I'm sorry. It was instinctual, like.
But
There's another character defect. Judgmental.
You never look at my face during a meeting.
You know what? I don't.
Oh my God! It's
I don't
amazing.
have to be skinny in order for people to love me. Like that's just the bottom line.
Yeah.
People love me for who I am,
I'm
not
sorry.
for the way I look. Go ahead.
I have such a great follow-up to that. Okay. How has the focus shifted from the outsides, like prettying up your outsides, to prettying up your insides and like expanding your mind and your spirituality?
Oh my gosh, like I have so many things that I like to do now. Like I never had any hobbies while I was using. I mean, first of all, I came into recovery and I had to work on my insides. Like it's an inside out job. And so I really, really took that serious.
There's your title.
Really took that serious. And so, I went through everything that I needed to go through with like women in the program and like sit down with them and go over things and share their experience and practice and just make connections with people that didn't have anything to do with like it was difficult.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Yeah, recovery's not fucking easy.
No, it was fucking hard. And then I started to get, I just started to get like really good at my career. And I started to be able to channel like, I'm a really loving person. That's one of the biggest assets that I have. I was really able to help people, get what I have by just showing them the way. And then I got into like lash extensions.
Yeah,
right?
that was a thing.
I was an eyelash artist, and I actually am doing like 4 clients' lashes this weekend after not doing them for 4 months. And women get sad if you're not available to do their lashes, man. But like, it's an art.
Luckily, I'm blessed.
All in itself.
I'm blessed.
Yeah, you are blessed. Women pay me money to have your eyelashes.
I know, it's pretty awesome. I've heard that all my life.
It is pretty amazing.
Pretty jelly. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think I have the final question of the night.
You do.
You have to pick one. You have to pick one. What's your favorite step?
I didn't know if we were allowed to talk about steps. Now
Oh,
I'm
yeah, we are.
sad.
Oh, that's fine.
That's fine. Step 7.
Step
Favorite
7. Ooh, I think that's a first.
Is it a first?
I think it is.
But I'm on step 11 and it's been so good. But step 7 was the step that allowed me to finally just be okay with who I was.
All right.
That's the perfect way to describe step 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Humility, knowing exactly who you are in this world.
His is 10, mine is 3.
Really?
Yep.
What's the most popular one that people say?
3.
3.
3.
And then 10.
3 and then 10. Yeah. Nobody. Yeah.
It's 3 and then 10.
One person said 1.
Their reason for 1 was good.
No, there's been a few 12s though.
There has been a few 12s.
People love 12. It's a solid one.
Nice.
All right, so we're gonna wind this down, but first we're gonna give you a chance to, for all the listeners out there, everybody out there in the world, like who's struggling with addiction, not struggling with addiction, what do you have to say about them? What do you have to say about the steps? You can talk about the steps real quick. Give your message to the people out there.
The steps are the way up and out. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the solution to me. Mm-hmm. And so it's very, very important. And just to keep coming back. That was like the big, like no matter what, you could be like using, can't get a day clean, just keep coming back. You could be like miserable, going through a divorce, just keep coming back. You could be lost your job and you're really broke and don't know how you're going to pay your rent, just keep coming back, you know? You can just get through everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just a matter of time. All right. Cool. Well, we would like to thank our guest, Emilee, for joining us tonight. Give me a clap track. It's a terrible clap track.
See? Yeah.
Okay. All right. She has like a jingle to her wrist, though, so that added some flair to it. All right. All right. Well, here at Podcast Recovery, we are aiming to expand the scope of support for recovering addicts. Accessibility and convenience of helpful services is paramount to combating addiction. We work to bring the message of hope to every addict, wherever and whenever it is needed. We believe that a powerful voice of recovery should be obtainable, practical, and at the touch of a button. Every addict deserves to hear a message of hope, and Podcast Recovery is here to provide it. All right, everybody, thanks for listening. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, like, subscribe, invite your friends. You can check us out on all your podcast apps, Spotify, blah, 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 all that. We love you, all our international fans, all our American fans, everybody. Stay safe, stay clean.